Jack Chesbro gripped the ball within his hand, twisting and turning it so the seams ran across his palm. Pitching on the sweltering Saturday in May of 1912 was not burdensome for the major league pitcher who holds the record for most wins in a season. Chesbro had been invited to Smith College to participate in the annual student-faculty baseball game, playing for both teams to keep things fair. He looked toward the catcher for an indication of what pitch to throw. The catcher, a Smith College senior, crouched behind the plate, having donned a dress embroidered with 2 bats and the number 12. In fact, the whole field surrounding Chesbro was filled with women dressed in skirts and shirtwaists. Even more peculiar than the dresses to a modern viewer, however, is the hand protection each player wears. What appears to be an oversized leather mitt resembling the Hamburger Helper mascot holds the responsibility for shielding each player from the sharp sting of the baseball. But how could something so ill-fitting prevent injury? Wouldn't its massive size disturb the player's ability to catch? The first baseball game to ever take place was on October 6, 1845. At the time, men scooped ground balls, caught pitches, and chased for long balls in the outfield using their bare hands. Injuries were rampant throughout the baseball league, but it was seen as unmanly, weak, to forego bare hands for a glove. It was not until 1869 that a baseball player made the logical decision to protect his hands from the constant abuse. Catcher Don Allison of the Cincinnati Red Stockings wore buckskin mittens following a severe injury to his hands, and 6 years later Charles Waite tried to trick fans by sporting gloves that matched his skin tone. However, Waite was unsuccessful in his attempt to maintain his manliness, and fans quickly took notice. By the 1890s, players became fed up with hand injuries, and baseball gloves were accepted throughout the league. The first baseball glove was merely 2 pieces of leather wrapped around the hand. Think vintage weightlifting gloves. This may not seem like much of an improvement in aiding players catch the ball, because it wasn't. The first fingerless baseball gloves were used as a means to knock down the ball. The leather would absorb the impact, but not enough to enable players to catch the ball without injury. A.G. Spalding was the first player to wear the revolutionary hand-encompassing glove, and his popularity within the baseball world allowed him to circumvent any ridicule Waite had received. I found that the glove, thin as it was, helped considerably, and inserted one pad after another until a good deal of relief was afforded, Spalding wrote in an introduction for the first baseball glove. Players began to flock to Spalding, wanting a similar guard from the sheer pain of catching barehanded. Spalding got to work and opened his own baseball equipment business, which has evolved into the Spalding Sports Company known today.
There's a long drive, way back in center field, way back, it is gone! Willie Mays just brought this crowd to its feet with a catch, which must have been an optical illusion to a lot of people.
Webbing between the thumb and forefinger prevented the ball from slipping through Mays' fingers. Remaining finger holes in the glove were sewn together up the sides, further preventing Mays from making an error. In one swift motion, Mays grabbed the ball from his glove, spun towards home plate, and hurled it towards the advancing runner. Thanks to his over-the-shoulder catch, the Giants prevented any more Indians from crossing home. The Giants ended up winning the game and subsequently winning the 1954 World Series. Coined the catch, any baseball fan can tell you about Willie Mays' play that saved the Giants. No one cares to remember the remaining games in the series. Instead, they're fixated on Mays' ability to make the out and prevent the Indians from scoring, focusing on the smooth leather, the ball plopping into his glove at the exact moment necessary to win the game. Although all players on the field have gloves on their hands, it's important to note that these gloves are not all identical. Depending on the player, they may be sponsored by Mizuno, Wilson, or some other mainstream baseball brand. These companies drool at the fact that their name is shown on TVs around the country, and young children want to buy the same glove their favorite players use. However, the brands are not the only distinction amongst baseball gloves. Each position has a unique glove. First basemen spend most of their time stretching across the base for throws or scooping grounders. To account for this, the first baseman's glove is shallow and longer than most baseball gloves with limited padding. Also, unlike most gloves, there are no individual finger slots. Instead, the player moves his hand as if he's making a crocodile hand shadow. His thumb and fingers come together to tightly secure any balls lobbed his way. Even though the second and first baseman are next to each other on the field, their positions are vastly different. Whereas the first baseman receives most throws, the second baseman runs around the diamond. He acts as a middleman for long throws between the outfield and third base or works with the shortstop to make double plays. Due to the necessity of retrieving balls with lightning speed and throwing it fast, the second baseman's glove lacks depth and length. The base of the palm of the player is revealed, looking as if the glove is slipping off mid-throw. More common amongst middle infield gloves are webbing between the forefinger and thumb. The web stops dirt from collecting and allows the player to throw the ball without creating a dust storm in the process. Third base, or the hot corner, constantly receives hard hit balls. Because of this, third basemen typically wear gloves that have a closed pocket and a trapeze web design. A trapeze is a thick piece of leather that runs in between the thumb and the index finger, almost creating a sixth finger for the player. The catcher position is the most taxing, requiring the player to squat for over 100 pitches a game and bear the brunt of 95-mile-per-hour fastballs. For maximum protection, the catcher wears a glove that's heavily padded. The glove resembles the plush neck pillow many airplane passengers wear on long flights, with cushions covering all but the palm. The catcher must clasp his hand over the glove when tagging a runner sliding into home to prevent the runner from knocking the ball out.
Payoff pitch. Get over there. He throws the glove with the ball in it.
Couldn't get the ball out of the glove as it's stuck in the web, and so that's what you do.
That's it.
Throw the entire glove and hope your pitcher's got good hands. Scott does. And a heads-up play. Couldn't get the ball out and decides just, okay, here, it's all yours.
A few simple pieces of leather stitched together revolutionized the sport of baseball. What was once viewed as an accessory for frail players, baseball gloves are now at the forefront of the game. Whether it be to assist in making unbelievable plays or simply allowing players to avoid injury and have long careers, the baseball glove is an invaluable prop in America's pastime.